Check 1 2. Check. There we go. Music is off. Music is off. Music is off. It says my CPU is above 80, but I don't think it should be. Close this up. QuickTime was open. This Imagine Effects thing open. I think. Sorry if it took a while. Sorry if it took a while. Sorry if it took a while. But I ate a quick breakfast. Lunch, breakfast, whatever you want to call it. It's really a breakfast for me. I hadn't eaten all day. Mike keeps hitting onto my jacket. Sorry, the mic kept hitting on my jacket. Welcome to the Daily Study Group. I'm going to go over some things today. Today is legs. We're supposed to be going over legs, but I first wanted to go back over the torso and kind of just give us some time on that. A little more time. Because I watched the videos. I should have done this earlier, but I watched the videos that accompany the Imagine Effects book, and they basically have some demonstration techniques on how to create some of the forms we were going over last time. Excuse me, sorry if it's real noisy. The mic keeps rubbing up against my my little jacket, the zipper of the jacket. So, if I can only find the chat, here we go. If you haven't looked for it, Ron Lemon has a YouTube channel, and he goes over some of the same stuff on his videos. I'm going to watch them later when I'm done with this, but I wanted to link all y'all to his YouTube channel. If you don't know who he is, that's his YouTube channel. And I wanted to quickly kind of just demonstrate. There's several ways in which he draws the figure that he demonstrates in the video. And I wanted to just show exactly like I wanted to kind of attempt how he does it. It's going to be a little harder with my Wacom pencil, or Wacom pen, because well, because it's not a real pencil. But basically, I'll say it again too. If you haven't, you should try and pick up this book anyway. But the video tutorials come with it are really awesome. Okay, let me try and do this right. Let me try and I'm just gonna try and find right now I'm just trying to find a brush I want to play with today. So basically the way this works, I can't do it on my computer. There's a way you gotta hold your pencil, right? I mean, I do this when I'm drawing traditionally, but I can't do it with the Wacom because the Wacom tablet you got to press the nib for it to register. And if it doesn't register, then nothing is drawn. But if you've seen it before, it's basically when you hold your pencil, kind of like like a. I'm trying to think how I can show you. I guess I could draw it out. If your finger is here, and like this is your knuckle, this is your other knuckle, and your thumb would be here. And then these fingers are just like kind of hidden. So if you're drawing like this, and your pencil is here, you've got the point out this way. That's your fingernail, like that's how you're holding your pencil. Okay? You understand how that works? And if all else fails, if you really don't get what I'm trying to show you, just go to the YouTube video I linked. It's Ron Lemon's video. You just watch how he holds the pencil. And I did this a lot more when I have a regular pencil in my sketchbook. You just can't do it with a Wacom. I tried just now, and that's me doing it right now. It just doesn't do anything. I guess I could press. What I'm doing now is I'm pressing the nib with my fingernail as I run my finger across. It's like kind of super tedious to try and like. It's not super tedious. It's just weird. Here we go. Do you see the level of control I have when I hold my pencil that way? I'm not holding shift, people. I mean, obviously not holding shift, because that's like, I'm going to hold shift now and do that. You see how straight that line is? See how I'm slightly off? Not exactly going straight. It's a more accurate way of controlling some of the movement you get in your wrist and your hand. You got to keep the tip right against the Wacom tablet. And you gently press on the nib with your index finger, and you can recreate that same kind of effect. Hey, what's up, man? Dave. I went to university with Dave. He was like the only guy I met when I was there that was like serious, like about drafting and drawing. I'm like not trying to be a conceptual artist. But at the time at university, I was into haunted houses, so I didn't really give a shit. So, so anyway, at the time I was on something else. I wasn't really focusing on drawing as much as I was on making scary stuff. Anyway, it's Dave Tenorio. You can find his work on Facebook. So what I'm trying to show everyone was just how to hold the pencil properly, because I didn't show a correct didn't really show a correct method on the last video. Not a quick. Oh wait. Basically, the way you hold the pencil matters, and I'll attempt to. You can find David on Facebook. I was trying to show you his artwork page, but I guess you're just gonna see his Facebook. Sorry, Dave. DavidNorio.com. There we go. Actually, I just asked him. He's in the chat. Anyway, you find Dave's work there. But yeah, he went to UT. Anyway, he's in California now. If you're in California, should message him. Anyway, cool. So what I'm trying to do, so you can't really get the hand position. Oh, my pen's not working. CJ, what's up, CJ? I'm trying. Okay, so CJ, if you just joined, I watched the videos that came with the Imagine Effects DVD, and Ron Lemon shows exactly how to draw those figures I did yesterday, and he just like makes a perfectly straight line. You're gonna hear music in the background. It's my brother and his band practicing for a recording session later today, so you might hear some stuff going on back there. Anyway, sorry about that, but you can see the way that Ron Lemon, and I've done this with my traditional media, the way you hold your pencil is like on its side, and kind of like think of it like a baton for like a conductor in a band, right? It's just like a little like wand. You hold your pencil that way, it gives you greater control. So you can't really do it on the Wacom tablet. So the only way, like if you tried to slant your Wacom stylus on the tablet, it doesn't do anything because it's not pressing against the nib. The nib's the whole thing, right? So you gotta like, what I'm doing now is I'm gonna put my fingernail on the Wacom nib and force it to register. But it's kind of annoying because it's like an unnatural position to hold. Because you don't actually draw with your finger on the graphite, like pressing on the tip. So it's not the most natural position. There we go. So now I'm doing an even more bastardized method of this. See that straight line I just made? That was without the shift key. There you go. See the control I'm getting? Let me hold the shift key to show you the difference. That's pretty damn close. I'm impressed with myself. Anyway, so what I've just now tried out is I tried the Wacom nib like this. Crap, hold on. I tried to use the Wacom nib like this against the tablet. And it doesn't register. Actually, that needs to be a harsher angle. You're going to hear some singing in the background. It's my brother practicing for his recording session. Okay, I got an idea. This is the easier way to do it. I'll just draw the Wacom stylus here. Something like that, right? I mean, it's not like perfect, whatever. There, it's like a crown. There you go. Anyway, so what I just did is, yeah, this will work perfect. What I just did was I tried to use the pencil, I tried to use my Wacom stylus like you would a pencil on its side, but it doesn't register because the nib's not being pressed. So if you try to make the mark, it's not going to do anything. So then I angled it a little, not towards the stylus, not towards the tablet. Sorry, I get my terms confused. I didn't angle it towards the tablet. I angled it slightly higher. And then I had my fingernail. Here's my finger. My fingernail's not that long, so my finger was like crammed right up here. My fingernail was trying to press the nib as I held it at this angle. And needless to say, it made these... Here, I'll set it up like a diagram. This method, by pressing with my fingernail on the nib, yielded these crappy lines. They're hard to control. This method of just trying to mimic a pencil, this method of trying to mimic a pencil didn't yield anything because there's no nib registration. There was no pressure. So I tried using the fingernail, but it made crappy lines. Crappy control, actually. The lines are great if I wanted that kind of line, but it's crappy control, because I was trying to make a straight line. But then I leveled up, and I happened just now. Then I leveled up, and I did these really straight lines. Well, hold on, because one of them is this one is the shift key. Make that red darker. This is the shift key and the standard Wacom stroke, which I'll never stop using because I have a computer. But in terms of practicing digitally, this line was created using this method I just came up with, and it'll help you in these next few exercises we're about to do. So I'll encourage you all to try and do this, or you could one-up this and just don't follow along with the computer, follow along with a piece of paper, and that way you don't have to worry about all this crap I'm talking about. But this next method is very similar to this one, except I don't use my fingernail to hold the nib down. I instead use just my finger, and I actually hold. If this is the Wacom oops. Oh, sorry about that. If this is the Wacom surface, I actually hold. I hold the nib. Oops, wrong layer. Wrong layer still. Wrong layer still. I just make a bunch of new layers. What the heck? I actually hold the nib above my Wacom tablet. So my finger is here, pressing on the nib. Not right now. I mean when I did those straight lines. And my thumb is right here, holding the pencil like a wand, like a Hogwarts student. And then my other knuckles are right here. It's my other knuckle. Alright, so this is my index finger. And then my other, this is my thumb right here. Except I don't have a short, fat thumb like this. And the Wacom pen doesn't just go into my flesh. But y'all get the idea. I'm gliding on my knuckles across the Wacom tablet, and pressing the nib. That's how I achieved that straight line. So I'll do it again real quick. Hold on. You got to keep the tip close to the. You got to keep the tip. Keep the tip close to the tablet. So don't keep your knuckles. Don't lift the pen too high. But it kind of. There we go. You see how the controls changed? So anyway, keep that in mind as we go through these anatomy studies. If you are trying to follow along with this, if you're trying to go on with a regular pencil, you hold your pencil on your side. That's all I'm saying to do. There's not really much to it. But if you're trying to follow along digitally, you're going to lose some of the control because you're not going to be able to hold your hand that way. And I don't want to hold shift just because this is a study. And part of the study for me is getting more control over my over my stroke and my line making. There you go. So you see the difference, how it goes. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and just erase all this stuff because we don't need to show this on the final. Okay, so I'm holding my pen differently, and I'm trying not to hold shift. It's my whole point. But the other part of the point is that if you do a quick test yourself, if you pull up your pen tool and just try and just hold your pencil the regular way on the stylus on the Wacom and just try and make a straight line. And you can, with a quick motion, you can kind of get them fairly easily. But if you're trying to do a slow, steady line, like this, your hand normally falters. I'm trying pretty hard, but at a certain point your hand kind of, there's a natural tendency, oh that was a good one, there's a natural tendency for your hand to waver. If I hold shift, you can see the line that I make instantly, and then if I use this other method where I'm holding the Wacom pen kind of like a wand, and I have my index finger actually pressing the nib so that the nib is not touching the tablet. I can go further and have a more straight line. I still got to practice. I mean, I'm just trying this out. Anyway, my recommendation is to follow along with paper and pencil and don't even bother trying this. But you can kind of see how it's helping. Just that positioning. It takes some of the wavering out. Anyway, let's get back onto it now. Let's get on to the actual thing. What I'm trying to say now, beyond all this, is what I'm trying to say is I watched the Imagine Effects video, and Ron Lemon made these like perfectly straight lines. So when we in yesterday's little study, we did this torso right here. This guy right here. That torso. There's a way to create this in a minimum of 6 strokes. or I guess 6. I guess technically it's 7 because you got one side, then you got the other side. But anyway, so on the video, when you watch it, it looks kind of like this, and I'm going to try and do this without messing up too bad. You're going to you have the head. I'm just going to try and straighten it out with another pass. There you go. And then I'm going to go up. I'm going to try not to use shift. I'm going to keep my finger off the shift button. I'm going to try and do this thing where... Ooh, that wasn't good. There we go. That was one. Yeah, it's kind of close. Anyway, I'm just going to try and get a good straight line here. Just going to use the undo until I get it perfect. It's the one benefit of the digital. Anyway, you just go down like that. That's fine, whatever. It's easier traditionally, honestly. And then keep the nib above the Wacom tab. I'm going to try and do this side one. Ooh, it's close, but... I'm going to struggle for a bit, people. Sorry. I hope y'all are getting on this faster than I am. If you're doing it traditionally, you might have already gotten it by now. It's hard to use this positioning and look at the TV, not the TV, look at the computer screen. There we go, that's close enough. So it goes, of course, this is all traditional in the video. So he does 1, and he does 2, and he does 3, and then he goes back in and does like, he gets this and kind of just extends it down. But he does it in one stroke and it doesn't mess up. Yeah, I'm just going to do it like that. And then he starts connecting the lines. He kind of overlaps them a little bit just to like make them darker. But generally he gets them down in the one move. And it's just really impressive. I mean, like, to just have that steady hand. So we're going to go down, and these lines are just like, just a little closer here, really. So. And then it's going to go out. And then you come over and do the exact same thing with the other hand. With the other hand, with the other, no, not with the other hand, with the other side. You can kind of see it's a little, it's way off. Anyway, whatever. But it's in those few strokes. And then he goes on to build it like, he fixes these just a little bit. But they're not nearly as janked up as mine. And then he makes these like arms, kind of like this, like they're abstract. It's all abstract. I think it's like this. 1, 2, 3, like that. Then it goes back up. And then later he goes like deltoid, bicep. Oops, maybe not. I think it's a little closer in. Oh my god, I hate this. Stop it. Anyway, he ends up building the body like that. And it looks really cool and it's way faster and way more neat than what I just did. But anyway, I guess I'll keep this up. But my point being is that the method to creating this figure is very simple, very clean. So it's not like a, there's no digital tools used. You gotta just have a practiced hand, or if you don't have a practiced hand, start practicing. And I mean, my biggest suggestion is just do it traditionally. But if you're hell bent on trying it digitally, there's that hand position I told you about that's super dumb. When you could, I mean, like in the end, after the studies are over, if you're really going to be working digitally, and you need to draw a straight line, just hold shift. But if you want to practice your control and your motor skills, then by all means, just do it traditionally, because that'll translate to the Wacom. Let me kind of zoom in now. We're gonna jump. I'm kind of staying on the torso a little bit because I didn't really. There was a whole other section that we didn't cover. And if this is your first time joining in, I'm just going through the Imagine Effects Anatomy book. These lessons are by Ron Lemon, and I'm just kind of following along as best I can and doing it live. So we built out a person reclining yesterday. I'm going to kind of go into, we're going to look at the abdominals now. This section says a pinch here, a stretch there. Seen from the profile, the abdominal muscles have very different type of contour. The top two muscles are angular. And the top two muscles are angular. The top heads predominantly face up over the rib cage, and the second set of heads face downward. I see what it's saying. Okay. I'll draw that in a second, guys. I know you can't see anything. The metal hands face the flat forward and lower abs bulge at the bottom around, and it tapers towards the base of the pelvis. The muscles have this structural design to help when the body leans forward. Huh, interesting. Alright, so then the figure on the right has been drawn using construction forms to keep the anatomy geometric. I'll draw that in a second. Planar and simple. The right side is pinched or bending in. As a result, the shape on the right profile all take on a bulging appearance from the compression. So the drawing we have, we're going to start with, we're going to work in layers. So I'm going to start with the blue. And I'm going to go ahead and draw out like this ovally shape for the rib cage. And we're going to go ahead and do like a spine. Let me do it again. So then we kind of adjust the oval shape for that spine. Rib cage, generalized shapes, okay? And then we'll do another circle for like the pelvis, right? And then right here, is going to be where the arm starts, like a deltoid. So we're going to start with a circle. We're going to go line, line. This will be our understructure. Now I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to work with black. And then I'm going to start by kind of quickly blocking in this deltoid muscle, just because it's not really the focus right now, but I want to kind of get that in there as a reference point for me, because it's like on top of the circle. It's right here near the spine, and it starts with this little teardrop shape. It's inverted, and then you have this extra triangle. This extra triangle is connecting, I think this right here, this muscle goes to the clavicle. It appears to be drawn that way. And then remember, the pectoral muscles are connected to the humerus, which is the upper arm bone, and it creates somewhat like a fan shape. So we're going to come out to here. We're going to cut back in, and we're making like this triangular shape here. And if you were to imply the wrinkles or the ribbing, it fans out from the armpit. We went over this yesterday. So right now, here's the deltoid. I'm going to stop drawing the arm, and I'm going to start drawing the lats, which are like the back muscles. And it's going to be confusing at first, because the way the diagram has drawn them out is that the lats start here, and they go down a bit. And it looks like I'm drawing his arm, but I'm not. I'm drawing the lats, laterals. And there's some ribbing included here to kind of give you an idea of the volume. I guess I'm not doing that entirely correctly. Here we go. I'll keep it all in one direction. I'll clean it up a bit. So the lats are going to be kind of a cylinder that tapers towards the base. And then we're going to pick out a point right here, midway along this pectoral. We're going to go to about midway in the lat. So we've carved out a little triangle here. Well, this triangle, it looks like I'm going to count out 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's like 1, 2, 3, 4. And these are ribs right here, what I'm putting in. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to just gently shade in that area. And that's underlying muscle, excuse me, underneath the obliques. So now, the obliques, starting from this point here, which is about, so if this pectoral is divided in half, we're going to redivide it in half right here. And I'm just going to create this kind of like it's a little hard to describe, it's just this shape. Just kind of eyeball it as you go. This is the top oblique. And that top oblique is like right here. And then the bottom oblique starts from the base and extends down past the lat. We're going past that lateral area. Okay, and now there is a connective tissue that's formed right here, and it's just the way it's been represented is just a line that kind of follows the curve slightly. It's a little different, like it's kind of got a variation. It kind of goes like this, then it goes up, then it goes here. Okay, and now we're going to actually do the abdominals. So this is what he's talking about on the it says the top set of heads face up over the rib cage. The top heads predominantly face up over the rib cage. So what's going on right now is at the very top abdominal, and you don't normally see this on people. Not the way, like you're thinking of a six-pack of like abdominals, that's different. There's this top set that's right here. That's, remember, we drew a rib cage Rib cage is here. Rib cage. So this top set's gonna, oops. This top set's gonna be facing outwards and kind of up. And then we're gonna go down and in. It's gonna be kind of facing slightly downward. And then this one is gonna appear slightly flat. And then the last set, it's going to kind of come out. It's a little rounded, and it tapers as it goes towards the groin. And I've actually got the pelvis off a little bit, so I'm going to start putting in where the hip bone is here, like where the hip muscle, not really the bone. And then we got this other connective bit here. It's still a little, I've drawn it slightly, let me show you what I've done, because I kind of messed up, but I've drawn it slightly elongated, so I'm just going to shrink it a bit. There we go. Just for the sake of having a correct diagram, shrink it just a little bit. And so we've got this one's down, this one's straight out, and this one is round. And so what you think of as the traditional like six-pack, when you think of a person that has abs visible, is that everyone has abs, is that you're thinking of this set here. This is the coveted six-pack of so many men. Okay. So that's how it's broken up here. And the arm is actually the way, if I were to draw the arm, I'd have the arm out here. Okay, so let's move on. The side view. We're going to continue on. I'm going to draw this very angular torso based on a kind of a prism and box. And this torso is kind of bent, so it's like it's got this arch in it. That way it could show the compression of the muscles. Let's see. And we'll start with this top line here. Kind of creates this T. And the bottom line is going to kind of come out like this. So you can kind of start to picture how we're going to do this. And so far, I haven't been too accurate at producing the pelvis. As far as the distance of the pelvis to the torso, I've been correcting myself on each time. So I'm going to try and get this in one fell swoop. If the rib cage, if the bottom of the rib cage is about here, the way this is drawn out, we're going to have, I should make it right here. We're going to have a section of abdominals. They're going to stop right here, about right here, maybe a little lower, kind of keeping it. And then we're going to have another set. I'm sorry, it's not really a set. It's this should be the pelvis region right here. So this next line I'll make should be where I need to draw it. And if I mess up, I'll correct it later. But let's just start in. If you're following along, we started with a line. This is a through line. This is our straight line. And then we've done a shoulder line. And then we're doing like a generalized pelvic region. And this is kind of just to get the perspective on how we're going to be moving that form. So think of it like a prism, a rectangular prism. fill in the rectangle. It's not going to be entirely perfect. And you know, if you don't get it perfect too, it's not, the point isn't to make the body in perspective right now. It's just to observe how the abdominal muscles move, and to kind of incorporate that into your memory so that we can have that locked away when it comes time to draw a person doing some kind of, like, if they're like a guy that's like either getting punched, or if he's injured and he's got this twerk to his body, this will be the great time to call in this information. Or if the guy's having a more extreme, like he's swinging a weapon or something, or a woman too, either one. This is what we got to think about. Now, when I'm drawing, all the muscles in here, they apply for both man and a woman. A woman, the only difference being that she's got, other than like some of the proportional differences, we'll have to add on the breast to the skeleton, to the frame. So like if I were to go back to this other drawing here, they would come off depending on how the body works, like the body type you're looking for. Somewhere around there. We probably try and soften all the lines up a bit just to give a more feminine appearance. I'm not going to keep that there because I'm trying to match the diagrams in the book. Anyway. But all this stuff we're talking about are like the generalized musculature. So, okay, we got this prism here, and I'm going to kind of block in another one right here. Actually, this is what I'll do. To show off how we're going to be drawing the form in space, I'm going to draw this arch, kind of create this bent prism. Now, this isn't in the book. It doesn't say to do this. I'm doing this based on my knowledge of the fact that the diagram we're making, excuse me, the diagram we're making is very rudimentary, and that we're going to build on top of this. So, with this groundwork laid, I'm going to start a new layer up. I'm going to draw this guy in like a dark purple to differentiate what's going on here. The rib cage is going to arch off and out. It's just how it works, you know. That's really too light. I'll have to darken it. Let me see. Here we go. Just in case it's not showing up. Rib cage is here. You've got this circle. Connects. And then the neck would be another cylinder from here. Right? Something like that. It wouldn't be so small and minuscule, but not like that. Anyway. Halfway down the rib cage, we're going to stop here, and we're going to put in the pectoral muscles. And they're going to curve. At least the way this diagram's portraying them, they're going to kind of curve here, just to show that they're kind of wrapping along the rib cage. Excuse me. Okay. So now we're going to worry about the abdominals. If I just eyeball it down to here, we're going to start the obliques, I believe. Oh no, maybe this is the set of muscles underneath the oblique. I don't know exactly. I'm just going to draw what the diagram has. It's not labeled right now, so I'm having a hard time trying to figure out what this is. But this area of muscle is going to come down. I think it's the obliques. Come back to this side. And now this muscle here, as I draw this now, it's going to start gently kind of bulging because it's being pinched. And then it's going to be pinched up against this other part, which will be bulging out slightly too. Even if someone's really fit, that wrinkling, that folding happens because the mass can't go anywhere, so it just buckles. There's this line that's being portrayed. I believe that's where the connective tissue is. That connects from one set of muscles to the other. And there's another, same exact thing. Oops. I don't know, I think that was not meant to be portrayed right here. This one, oops. Anyway. So, sorry. The connective tissue is under here. And then it's going to be under here. I'm kind of following the perspective I've briefly laid out for myself. And so this side is going to be stretched. Remember, we're trying to generalize the shape, so I'm still adding in some of the angles just to show you like how this would function. Then you got this divider line because you got two sets of abdominals together. And this next part that I'm drawing is like the hip. So what I'm trying to show, what the diagram's showing, is that like, and this happens in people, it's like the love handles right here. That's why it's kind of buckled. And whenever you're starting to gain weight, fat accumulates there. And that's where those form. Anyway, excuse me. Sorry about that if I hurt anyone's ears. This is actually a little longer. This whole area is like pretty wide. To kind of see how it looks in the book. Anyway, so kind of hacked through that a bit, and then just gonna add on. This is the lats, I believe. I believe these are the lats, and those ribs that we included before. There's one, there's two, there's three, and then there's 4, which means this should curve in a little more. Anyway, so generalized, it's a little off, it's not perfect, but y'all can understand the whole point of this is to show that when the body's moving like this, that the abdominals, the abs, the obliques buckle. That's it. It's a buckle and they stretch. Okay. And now all the abs can be designed. Each division aims towards a common point lined up with the navel. all the abs stacked on top of each other have a rhythmical relationship to one another, as all the head divisions can be connected together at a single point at the side of the body. This relationship keeps all the muscle heads organized in the architecture of the bones of the torso. In the architecture of the bones of the torso. Alright, so this diagram's going to be this is going to be straightforward. I'm going to be holding shift to create these lines. That's my through line. I'm going to base everything off of. I'm going to start with this little circle up here where the neck will come out, but we're not going to draw the neck. We're going to go straight into, I'm going to do the sternum. Draw both sides, don't copy and paste. Okay. Trying to make this symmetrical, so I'm going back and forth on this. We're going to call this shape here will be the rib cage. Okay, let me just take a quick look. It's 1 o'clock, people. I did not check the time when I started this. So that's the rib cage we're going to work with. Excuse me. I can already tell I'm off. Keep it like that. Okay. I'm just putting in a little bit of the spine to find out where I want the this pelvic region. Okay. The hips. There's a chance we're not going to get onto the legs today. Hello, Tronico. There's a chance we're not going to get onto the legs. We'll do it tomorrow. We'll push everything back a day. But there's so much we missed out on the torso that I didn't want to go forward. Because we didn't even cover any of the, all the stuff we're doing today, we didn't cover any of that. And for me personally, I want to really get a good grasp on what's going on in here. I'm drawing the pectoral muscles real quick. And I'm going to create, on my new layer, I'm going to use black to designate the abdominals. Under the pectoral muscles we have this, like a line here, a line here, and then what I'm trying to demonstrate through this little diagram, it's a little off already, but what I'm trying to demonstrate is the fanning effect that Ron was talking about. And this. So I'm going to go from one side. And then I'm going to add these little anterior, just like little connective thing he drew. Same on the other side. Looks like it's connecting from the rib cage to the pelvis, and it doesn't designate what this is, because the point of this diagram is to show the design of the abdomen, of the abdominal muscle, specifically the six-pack abs, everyone. everyone that's working out and stuff really wants. And so what it's saying, what it's got here, is basically right around here. It's got a vanishing point, and from that you should be able to understand what we're about to do. I'm going to take out another brush real quick to demonstrate with some nice straight lines. Tap here, hold shift, click. Tap here, hold shift, click. One, two, three. I feel like I'm a little off on that one. Starts from up here. Two. Right here. Whoa, don't know what just happened. Those 2 points connected. I only wanted one. And then the last one's like, the way it's drawn, it's almost like a straight line. So it's 1, 2. Trying to make sure I got this right. I may have already gotten it down. It's 1, 2, 3. This third one's kind of like straight. Yeah, because that one's almost straight with the vanishing point we've created. And this last one just kind of goes along with it. This last one's like right here. But I don't want to do it like that. Make it look a little neater. Okay. So, switch my brush real quick. Basically, if you're organizing the abs and kind of thinking of like how they sit on a resting torso, you'll have one here, and then the other one's here. These are the fibers of the muscle. One here. And then this one, remember this is the one that's rounded. So if we look back up at here, it's 1, 1, 2, let me see this. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 4, yeah. 1, 2, 3, and this one, it's rounded and it tapers down to here. That's what we're doing. Here we go. Yeah. So if you were to kind of draw it out, you'd have like, in terms of like the shape of how you're blocking them out, you would use those guides to help you figure out how exactly you're going to portray that. And this is the navel. So you can get an understanding of like how this body's working. Okay, now sorting out the connections. So I mean, I hope everyone's kind of picked up some new things from this. So because I've in this first diagram, just kind of hearing that this top abdominal faces up and out, while the rest, they each have a direction. Think of that for rendering, and keep that in mind when you're drawing a dude that has like no shirt on and he's like ripped or something, like typical, I don't know, like orc or warrior guy. Everyone's gonna end up drawing at one point, or like a superhero. And when you're thinking of how the light hits, like you got to think about how the light's going to hit the body. If you know the light's going to hit and start doing certain, let me get a different color. The light will be this orange color. If you know that the light's going to come in and influence this form, this figure, it's going to tell you something that generally you got this arch But then when you get to this abdominal, the light's not going to hit really the same way. Not, at least not the intensity that you originally started rendering. Oh my god, my eraser's not registering. That only happens if I spin my pencil around too close to the Wacom tablet, it doesn't realize I'm keeping it thinks I'm trying to keep the brush tool on. Anyway, so the light would hit here, it would hit here at a less intense way, and then here it's kind of like this slightly, then it kind of curves out, then you got some more light picking up here, and then it kind of eases out as it goes down. So you got to think about that when you're shading and creating the shadows on the form. That's important. That's what's important about like kind of knowing that directionality. I didn't know that. Like I didn't realize that was like something that it's probably not with every single, like, I mean, there's a general shaping, right? But if the guy is really fat or something, he's got a layer of fat that's obscuring the abdominals anyway. So it's like, it matters with certain characters, and certain characters it's not going to matter. So, and then on this one, I mean, I kind of knew this part, this like the buckling of the masses. But this is something I didn't really know. The organization of the abdominals, and the fact that they kind of point in the same direction, like a perspective grid almost. But it's not a perspective grid. It's just the way that they are organized in the body. Okay, keep that in mind. So now this next diagram we're going to go over is called sorting out the connections, which is this is like a tricky part, really, I feel, to me, because this is something you don't really draw all the time. So I'm going to start the base serratus, the serratus. We'll start in a red and work up to a black. Stretching real quick. Oh man, okay. It says the slider muscle. So the serratus pulls the scapula forward. Serratus originate from the back edge of the scapula and attach alongside the rib cage to the first 9 ribs. Serratus flex when the arm is lifted. Serratus are flatter at rest and bulkier when they are flexed. So when the arm is lifted, the serratus flexes and it's flatter at rest. So let me try and pull up an example real quick in art. I think I have. Here we go. I think I have it. Yeah, there's some Rosetta. Let me find an example. I know there's going to be one here somewhere. Come on, Rosetta, don't hold out on me. I know you got it somewhere here. That's kind of it right there, but his arm's blocking the serratus muscles exactly. Try to open that one real quick. So the muscles we're talking about, the serratus, are the muscles that are helping lift that arm. They're pulling the scapula. You can't see them because this painting just so happens to have the serratus blocked. But it's whenever a dude's lifting his arm up like that. That's what we're talking about. The serratus muscles connect the scapula to the ribcage from beneath the scapula. The muscle heads originate along the inside edge of the scapulae on the back closest to the spine and terminate halfway along the first 9 ribs. These muscles insert snugly into the obliques and radiate and an arch on the side of the body with all the muscles fanning out from the bottom. Yeah, there's not many, you don't really get to see it. He's got armor on all his dudes when they're doing that. In fact, he's got like shading on some of them. Anyway, but that's when you would need to really focus on it. I mean, well, in general, you got to know them anyway. But let's start in the diagram real quick. So it's got a rib cage, and it's, start with your rib cage, generalize that shape out. I'm working in layers, so this is just my quick groundwork for where I want to work from. Okay, start a new layer. I'm going to work from black on top of this. Pectoral muscles are going to stretch with the arm, because remember we learned the first anatomy day, the pectoral muscles are attached to the arm. So those muscles are going to connect into this arm bone, like here. We're going to generalize it, like I said, too. We're just thinking of the construction. They're wrapping into that arm bone. And then, no, I'm drawing in some shapes that are just there as guides. They're not really the focus, so I don't really know exactly. This is deltoid, I know that much. And then here's the serratus, what we're talking about. There's like 4 that are visible. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the rest go up. And the rest create like a fan. So I didn't really draw that entirely great. Just redo that real quick. So if we think of it like a fan, we go like 1, 2, 3, 4. And the side diagram is a better example, but they flex and they become bulkier when they're flexed. So because this arm is being raised, they're bulked up. And if the other arm is not being raised, then we won't have that bulking effect. It'll just be kind of like flatter. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4. I mean, it says that they're attached to the... It seems that only 4 are visible because the rest are behind the pectoral muscle. This other arm joint here. So you kind of understand what's going on. Like if you lift, these are going to flex, but then the other side is always going to have it slightly flatter. The way he's drawn it here is it's a side profile here of the rib cage. The rib cage comes out the way it's shaped right now in this drawing. It's like kind of this weird looking eggy, soft, polygonal shape. Right? If the arm joint is here, just as a reference point, and the scapula runs here to the back, back up, the serratus, it's ribs 1 through 9, so there's going to be 9 of these. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You see how the fanning is going to be these are my markers to kind of show you, like, it's creating that fan shape, that triangular fan. Same thing as like with the pectoral muscles. Ah, crap, it's all on one layer. Same thing with the pectoral muscles. They fan, they create like a paper fan. A flare, if you will. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Something like that. Okay. Ribs 1 through 9, they flare out and they terminate in an arc. So this arc is where they're going to end. They terminate here. And they're voluminous. They're like little cylinders that taper. I kind of have mine facing in the same direction. It needs to be more of an arch. So it needs to really like match that shape, like. Yeah, 9. Didn't match it exactly. There we go. I'll just move the guide over. Flares out. Ooh. Okay. Flares out. Stops in the arch. And they originate from the back edge of the scapula and attach alongside the rib cage. Yeah, so anyway, how the torso rotates. The torso rotates. Ooh, this could be the last one for today. I wanted to sketch, and I gotta go somewhere. The obliques bend the torso and rotate. On the bent side, the oblique compress and bulges, right? We already talked about that, the buckling. This part bends with the serratus muscles. This part of the obliques is called the thoracic portion. Which part is that? The top part of the obliques. Thoracic, whatever. The oblique lines aim from the oblique lines, the lines of the oblique aim up towards the neck. There's a thoracic and a flank part. So let me do this a quick drawing of what it's talking about. This is kind of important. I mean, this is all like important, but so if this is the neck, And this is that rib cage shape we've been drawing out. What it's saying, what the book says, what Ron is saying, is that there's two parts of the obliques. This upper part that's connected to the serratus, and there's a lower part that's we're calling the flank. And the lower parts are like where the love handles are, you know. Is that part bulges a lot more than the top part when it comes to like whatchamacallit, bending and twisting. Okay, so this lower part, the flank of the obliques. I'm doing this pretty quick. The diagram looks a lot nicer in the book, but I'm trying to kind of get on with things. Here are the front abs. Remember, they go down and taper like we've been drawing it. The flank parts here, and this line of the flank points up towards the neck. Right? You understand now? That points up towards the neck, and the rest of it, see, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is wrapping with the ribs. And it's receding backwards with the ribs. And from a front view, there is an arch that's created here. Like, these are lined up in a, you only see this certain portion. And I kind of drew this a little off, but like this would be the pectoral right here. Right? That one's really messy, sorry guys. But you understand what I'm saying? So like, the serratus we just drew, from a front view has this arch. So it appears as like a rhythm, a little like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think really just 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, because the pectoral muscle overlaps on this one. And then the abs are here. But the important, really I think the most important part to keep in mind is that these bottom obliques continue through up towards the neck. So if you were to draw an imaginary line, the general muscle of your body, that contour goes towards the neck. If you look at yourself in the mirror, depending on how fit you are, you might see that, you might not. I mean, I was going to say everyone you can check and see, but if you're really big, I'm sorry, you can't, you won't see it. The oblique flank portion drapes over the iliac crest. Okay, so here's let me draw this real quick because this is something kind of important. If this is the, I think I'm drawing this right. If this is the pelvis bone, I'm going to draw it out real quick. This is the pelvis bone here. You got that little hole there, Here's where the hips connected. And then you've got like where it forms the tailbone. Like this, where the spine ends right here. It's kind of how it sits. The pelvis rotates. Anyway, so you got like the tailbone here. The hip is here. It's a little larger. This is like the joint for the hip, so it's not actually the hip. It says the flank, which is this section here. The flank will sit it will drape from here over this crest. It comes back up. It kind of forms this parallelogram. Whoa. Flank. It forms a parallelogram. So if you want to get more of a reference of what we're looking at right now, this is the front abdomen. These are the front abs right here. Do you understand how the side view is working? The bone would be here for the hip. Okay. The pelvis is excuse me, angled forward like that. Angled forward like that. But got this parallelogram shape that's connecting. So in the side view, you got to think about this shape and how that interacts. Because on a bigger person, there'll be a little pocket of fat that starts forming over here. So you get the love handles, and then on really, really muscular dudes, this muscle is really prominent too. So typically on a muscular guy, like on a muscular person, the muscle sticks out, and then it tapers in here, and then you see like where the hip muscles start, right around here on the butt and everything. So, and a cross section of the oblique. So if you were to kind of look at the oblique at an angle, it would look something like, I'm going to simplify it. This is what the book does. So right there, you got this cross section. See how that works now? If you were to like take the oblique off, that's how it's wrapped around the body from the front to the back. Just like this little section of muscle. Okay. The muscles on the front of the body are very pliable and can be stretched and twisted as much as needed to help enhance the pose. So the muscles in the front of the body are pliable and can be stretched and twisted as much as needed to making a pose. And there's a little section that says making it fit. The drawing is never correct until the whole has been established. This means that to understand the relationship of the parts, you must see them as they are assembled together. Don't become critical of one drawn line. Try to draw the entire pose quickly. Then assess as a whole what can be fixed or altered to create a stronger, more convincing pose. So, like, I said this yesterday because it's in the book too. You're not supposed to, we're supposed to walk away from these anatomy lessons not drawing every single character that we draw for the rest of our lives in blocked geometric shapes, unless that's just, if that's the way you work, that's the way you work. But you're supposed to take the most important bits of this, apply them to what you're doing, and then leave them behind. You're supposed to just move on to. You're supposed to move on to like just drawing your figures out. You can keep what you will in terms of like how you're going to break down everything, but the systems aren't made to like be stuck in forever. You're not supposed to always draw all your figures out like this and slowly block up people. But from my own experience, when I was in middle school and right through high school, every time I drew a person, I always started with a stick figure, and then I built upward from there. And I've got a good sense of where to place things. The one thing I never did is never went this in depth with it and picked out all the separate muscle groups. But that, I know for me, that helped a lot, because as I got more and more, as I progressed more and more into my sketchbooks and things, I began just focusing on just the straight up contours of each form. So, you know, like, to me, drawing the forearms is always like this, you know. Then you fill in and fix it later. Anyway. But when you learn this method of, when you start with this method in practice, starting from the stick figure and building your way up, it allows you to pose however you want, like pose things however you want, and then the real thing you need to focus on after that is just supplementing everything you're learning with this constructive anatomy with life drawing. That's the big thing, is that you gotta draw from life, no matter what. Whether it's people clothed or people nude, you gotta go end up drawing from life too. So, this is the daily study group, day 9. I believe it's day 9. And this font that I have doesn't have the numbers for some reason. It just, the way the guy designed it, there's just no numbers in this font, so it kind of sucks. That's why I use this other font. Daily study group, day 9. So, we didn't cover the legs at all today. If anyone was coming in actually following the lesson plan, hoping that we were going to go over legs for a while, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to let you down. We just missed, like, we just didn't do the entire other half of the torso, and it's really important stuff before we move on to like the legs and everything. So, moving forward, we did just get through the section for the torso. We went through all, like everything. There's a few more diagrams. There's a few more things included. Like it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like 4 that I didn't draw, but they're smaller. I drew the main ones. They're a little smaller, and I drew the main diagrams. I didn't go in and oops. I didn't go in and draw every single one, but that's what I went through today. I learned a lot. There's some particular things I learned that are really going to help me later. and tomorrow's legs. Okay. Tomorrow's legs. We're going to, I gotta watch some of the videos included sometime tonight, I guess. But, once again, Ron Lemon has a YouTube channel. If you're just joining the chat and you don't see the link, I'm studying from this Imagine Effects. It's not letting me copy and paste. Oh no, it is. It's just making a bunch of noise. Where is it? Oh. Whatever. It's linked on the Google Doc that goes along with these lessons we're doing. But I learned a lot. I learned some things that I didn't hear about. What time do I usually stream? I don't have a time. Right now I can't have a set schedule. That will change on January the let me look it up for you. That will change on hold on. January 17th. January 17th, my girlfriend and I will be house sitting for 3 months at some friends' houses, which means I'll be able to get into a regular schedule and do this at a regular time. Until then, I stream them and I save them on YouTube. So if you miss them, they're on YouTube. If you want to catch up with the old ones, it's all on YouTube. They're all on my channel, youtube.com/Mike086. I also got a friend, a Kansas friend, who's doing them too, CJ Marsh. I don't know if he's still in here or not, but he's got his own live stream. And when I get on a regular schedule, I'll let everyone know. And it'll be like every morning at 9 o'clock? Every morning at 9 o'clock, I'm thinking. It's the easy time. It'll be Central Standard Time, by the way. Every morning, 9 o'clock Central Standard Time. But until then, I'm doing them at random times. But I'm saving all the videos. And the main purpose for saving all the videos is so that everyone doesn't have to try and meet up at one time and fit their schedules to this schedule. You should be able to. I want you to be able to do this stuff whenever. So if later on in life, Central Standard, later on in life you decide to look over these, you can look over them and you can still view the videos. Or if your schedule gets super hectic, you're never really missing anything because I'm uploading everything anyway. Let me see if I can't find it real quick. If you go to the this Google Doc, comes in Dagger's Forum under the under the partner group dailies. There's a group called the Daily Study Group, and that's us. We study every day. Everyone's welcome. Everyone's welcome to join in and participate. No one is not allowed. There's 5 moderators, I believe, that run the Google Doc. I'm not going to allow everyone to be a moderator because then people might put up stupid stuff, or they might just change stuff that they shouldn't change. But you don't have to follow along with my stuff. CJ is doing a different set of anatomy studies this week. This week we're both focusing on anatomy. That's one thing that's the same. But we all kind of do different studies. You don't have to do this exact thing. Marjorie Davis, like her life, especially when we do still life, it's kind of like whatever you got, you know. there's not really a right or wrong. You should always gear your study to whatever it is you're working on, unless you're just starting out, in which case you need to just what do you call it? Just practice the fundamentals. And if you don't know where to start, part of this too is like if you don't know what to do in the morning, if you know you need to study but you're not sure what, just come to the daily study group. Find one of our old videos or the new video, or find us live and just follow along with it later. Because you don't have to yeah, CJ just did his. You don't have to make it match exactly. Anyway. Michael Hampton. That's right. CJ and the rest of them are going to start up Michael Hampton. He's basically doing like Hampton's stuff. He's got a lot of the same method here, like this constructing method. I want to go through it too later on. I just want to kind of get through this this really structured breakdown of everything. So, as soon as I get in a regular schedule, I'll tell everyone. And thank you for joining. Posting this image up now. And I'm probably going to upload the video to YouTube later, but you can also watch it on my archive right now. So, it's always available until, once they get deleted, they'll be on YouTube. So, don't worry about that. There is a day 6. Day 6? I think it was day 6. No, day 7. Day 7 or day 6 didn't upload properly, so I can't put that in YouTube, but it's on my archive. Studies for today. But anyway, I want to thank everyone for joining. I'm going to end the stream, and then I'm going to start it back up and just draw some on my own with some music, and but I'm not going to do the studies. But then I got to go at like around in a few, not too long, like 40. I think I have 40 minutes I could draw for a bit. Anyway, thank you for joining. I will be back tomorrow. We're gonna cover legs. We're probably gonna. I feel like this 7 days are gonna take 14 days because we're gonna have to spend 2 days on every body part. Or I'm gonna have to stream for like multiple hours one day to cover everything because it's a lot of stuff. And the book's not that big, but it's a lot of stuff that he's covering. Anyway, I say he, I'm referring to Ron Lemon. Right here. Oops, right here. Oops, right here. Ron Lemon. And he's got a YouTube channel, and he actually talks about this figure invention video, and he's got that stuff. Anyway, thanks for joining me. I will put on some outro music for everyone, because I like to make this a production. Find me on Facebook, facebook.com/MCIII. I'm on the Crimson Daggers forum. I'm on CG Hub, DeviantArt, Instagram, Mike086. Mike086, alright, time for some kind of music. I gotta wait for it to start up. It's gonna make a delay. It's gonna make it awkward. But we'll knock it out with some Skull and Shark. Thanks for joining.